Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Chris's Habs Corner. Just doing a news update episode today. We're going to be going over who was sent down to Laval over the weekend into the week, who was called up for these last two games for the Habs against the Islanders and the Bruins. Talk a little bit about Jaden Struble and Emil Heineman, and just go over my opinion on the Chris Weidman comments after that Leafs game. So let's get right into it. All right. Over the weekend, the Habs sent back down Harvey Pinard, Caden Primo, Corey Schooneman, and Jesse Ullin into Laval. As you all know, Laval's fighting for their playoff lives for that last spot in the North Division with the Cleveland Monsters. And so they sent down some reinforcements for the game. For the last stretch of games here for Laval, they have about 2 or 3 games left, and they basically need to win out, and Cleveland needs to still lose one more game in order for Laval to have full control of their destiny to make that last playoffs position in the North Division there. And right away, who scored in that game against the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins? I believe it was on Monday night. Laval's big win. Harvey Pinard, Jesse Ullinen, both scored goals. And Corey Schooneman, I believe, got an assist on the empty net goal. Laval won that game 4-0 in a must-win game. Didn't watch the game. I don't really pay too close attention to watching the whole duration of Laval games. I watch highlights from the highlight packages I saw. The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins came on pretty hard against Laval in that game and kind of really took it to them in the latter half of the game. Just constant zone pressure, just a high volume of shots and just intensity. And Laval kind of hung in there. Got a couple of power play goals, I believe, at the end, including Jesse Ullinen's goal. So good for them to kind of not go down without a fight at the end of the season and hopefully still have some control over their own destiny going into the playoffs. I believe they have a game on Wednesday night, tonight, against the Toronto Marlies, who are the number 1 seed in the North Division. And Caden Primo is going to have to play lights out again to keep their playoff hopes alive, and they're just going to have another huge, massive game. So that's that. Now, in regards to the Habs tonight, I kind of like Kent Hughes' offer and his gesture towards the Laval Rocket of just keeping all the big boys, all the big pieces together down in Laval and calling up Frederick Allard and Joel Teasdale instead of Harvey Pinard, Jesse Ullin, and Corey Schooneman. And obviously not calling up Caden Primo, to really boost their playoff push there. So RHP, Ullinen, Schooneman, all of those guys are staying down for these last 2 games for the Habs. Instead, it's going to be Frederick Allard, who the Habs picked up at the trade deadline to deal with Los Angeles. In that Schnarr deal that went down, very minor deal. Allard actually played 1 game, I believe it was in Vegas. We were on that West Coast road trip, and he suited up on that third pairing. I think he played in between 5 and 10 minutes. So can't really say a whole lot about his game. Don't really know too much other than that he's an NHL body. Can fill the role on the third pairing probably. So, good for him. I know he had trouble, breaking into the lineup in Laval just because that D-core down there is so tightly fit and has really good chemistry in all 3 pairings. So he hasn't had a lot of playing time. So good for him to kind of get his mojo, get a couple games under his belt at the end of the season. Get some more NHL reps in for him, more puck touches at the NHL level. As we all know, he's probably not re-signing here at the end of the season. I think he's a free agent at the end of the season. So, he's going to get a couple games under his belt before he goes into free agency. And then Joel Teasdale's called up as well. Don't know a whole lot about Joel Teasdale. Like I said, I don't follow in depth all the details of every single player in Laval. I do know that he broke over 20 goals this season. He has around, I believe, 23 goals on the year. He's been just scoring at a consistent pace this latter half of the season. I've been told and I've heard he has a pretty strong net front presence. He's pretty sturdy in front of the net. Kind of just is able to push people around and just hold his own in front of the net and just be there as a strong presence, deflecting pucks, screening goalies. So that'll be nice to see another big net front presence body in the lineup tonight, I guess, especially against the Islanders. So that's what's going on with that. As far as the goaltending scenario is going to go down, Jake Allen is hurt. He is well enough to maybe travel with the team and maybe sit on the bench as a backup, but we don't know for sure. And we don't know for sure if he's going to be able to do so tomorrow night at home at the Bell Center against the Bruins. So, in theory, you don't want Primo, obviously, being called up. He is the savior that's going to carry Laval into the playoffs, especially when they have their own game tonight against the Toronto Marlies. He's going to have to carry that team on his shoulders tonight and show up in a massive way in that game. So he's out of the equation. So you have Jakob Dobes can't be called up. He's on an amateur tryout with Laval. So that leaves you basically Kevin Poulin in Laval to be called up to back up Montembeault tonight. If Allen's not making the trip, it could be Kevin Poulin sitting on the bench and just Montembeault starting the game, or maybe they'll just say screw it and have Jake Allen show up and put the pads on, come into warm-ups, and just sit on the bench after. We really don't know. And then tomorrow night, assuming Jake Allen's not healthy enough to finish out the last game of the season, backing up Montembeault again, Laval does not have a game tomorrow night. So if you didn't want to go down the route of calling out Poulin, you could just throw in Caden Primo tomorrow night after the game tonight against the Toronto Marlies and just have Primo sit on the bench. Don't play him, obviously. Just back up the game. So that's that. Yeah. Just want to touch a little bit on Jaden Struble and Emil Heineman playing in Laval. Like I said, I don't really watch all the games, the Rocket games. I watched a lot of the highlight packages and stuff. And from what I've seen with Jaden Struble, like I had said and mentioned about him in my previous video, he's a high-octane player, extremely physical in all three zones. What I like about him is he's very mobile and he's very assertive in when he has puck possession, taking the open ice that's given to him and sees the open skating lanes in transition and drives the play as an offensive defenseman as well. He's a very physical defensive defenseman that shuts plays down, but he also sees the ice and takes charge in the play with the puck, which is a really good combination to have. I've seen him distribute the puck really well. His decision making with the puck is very well. I've seen him in the highlight packages defer to his defensive partner when he needs to, but also make more north-south offensive passes on first pass breakouts as well. He handles pressure in his face very well when he has the puck management with pressure. He's making pretty nice stretch passes coming out of his own zone on the breakout with two guys coming at his face. Tape-to-tape passes, just saw the open area, right play. And he makes himself available a lot too, especially when his defensive partner is jammed up along the board. It seems like he really knows just the right sweet spot in the right open area to make himself available for just the perfect seam pass, So he knows how to get himself available. Excuse me. It doesn't seem like he's too lost at this level in his defensive zone coverage. It doesn't seem like he is a step behind the play too often in the D zone coverage. You can tell he kind of makes his decision making on when to go in for massive hits is sometimes a little off. I feel like a few times I've seen him kind of going for a big hit and take himself out of the play. So he needs to sharpen that up a little bit. And he also has a very, very intelligent, active stick. He's very good at holding pucks in at the blue line. He's very good at anticipating plays of the opposing team breaking the puck out of their own zone and just picking it off and keeping pucks in, holding pucks in, and then seeing the ice in front of him and taking the ice. I've seen him do that in the highlight packages a few times, which just shows you the IQ and the authority he has in his confidence to drive plays with the puck. So I like Struble a lot. I didn't realize he was at that caliber. He is far more along his progression than I had realized initially. I don't think next year, but I believe maybe the following season I could really see him potentially cracking the lineup if these other pieces are moved around. We do have an issue with a lot of defensemen, so we really don't know if he actually is going to be able to crack the lineup or not. Down the road, we have a lot of guys in the system that are going to be coming up here, so if the pieces fall right and he's able to somehow crack the lineup, I could really see him being a solid, at least at the minimum, third pair defenseman down the road. So it's a good problem to have. We have a rich amount of defensemen in our system, of quality defensemen, and it's a good problem to have, not knowing really what to do with all of them, kind of, I guess, So, and then Emil Heineman, believe his point streak was ended in the last game. I don't think he got on the board with an assist or a goal, but he's up to like point streak of 8 or 9 games, and he has 7 or 8 goals now in only 8 games with the Rocket since coming over from the Swedish leagues. And man, oh man, is he just... He's a big reason why the Rocket are probably still fighting for that last playoff spot. Ever since he's came over, he's just lit the lamp in the back of the net. Just his finishing touch. He has that finishing nature to his game. Just not hesitating to shoot the puck in space and has the confidence to do so. He just gets to those scoring areas when he doesn't have the puck, and then he doesn't waste time when he has it. And the way he's just able to wire those shots with pinpoint accuracy through people is insane. We don't really have a scorer with that skill set really in Laval or in the Habs, except for, you could argue, Garyanov. But you got to wonder if the Habs part ways with Garyanov in the off season here, which is a likely possibility. Garyanov just seems to be too inconsistent. He had 5 goals in 7 games or 8 games at the start of his tenure with Montreal when he came over at the trade deadline, and he's been quiet ever since. If he doesn't pan out, it would be interesting in the off season and going into next season, giving Emil Heineman a real cup of coffee at the NHL level to see if he can kind of fill that void of someone that can just be a finisher, just a play finisher, knows how to get the puck in open areas and just put it in the back of the net. Which is kind of a similar skill set to Garyanov. He's not as big as Garyanov. He's not as tall as him. But again, Garyanov doesn't also use his body to his advantage a lot of times either. He doesn't use his frame to drive plays towards the net. He doesn't use his body really to go into those loud, heavy areas around the boards. He just kind of just stays in the soft, quiet areas anyways. So it's not like we'd be totally missing out on that anyways. But But to have Heineman, and I'd love to see him potentially on the Habs power play. He, my God, when he has the time and space, he utilizes the space to his advantage to just put pucks in the back of the net. I think 3 or 4 of his goals with Laval are power play goals when he has the time and space to do so. But not just that, he's scored goals with Laval since he started with them in different ways. He's had a couple tip-ins, he's had a deflection, he's had a one-timer rebound goal going to the net in dirty areas. And then, of course, just his pinpoint accurate wrist shot that he has. So, yeah, I'd really like to see if we have the space this summer coming up, if we could really give Heineman maybe a chance at the NHL level. Be pretty unique. Yeah, so my last little tidbit today is just talking about Chris Weidman with his comment after the Toronto game. He said something along the lines of, "Don't worry, they're going to get what's coming to them," or something like that after the game. He was talking in regards to Toronto putting in their amateur tryout goaltender for the last minute of the game when the score was 7-1. Toronto had an emergency call-up from, I believe, the University of Toronto with their goaltender due to some crazy issues not being able to call up any emergency call-ups from their minor league system, and they didn't have their backup in the game. I don't know all the details. I just know that they had this guy from the University of Toronto being called up on an emergency basis on an amateur tryout, and the score was 7-1. We were getting smoked in that game, and they put him in the net for the last minute of the game. To let him live his dream. He's probably never going to have this chance ever again in his life. It's an extremely rare gift. A gift from the heavens to be able to play in the NHL. And he's probably never going to have that chance again. So I thought that was a pretty classy move by Toronto, as much as I don't like him. To put him in for the last minute. I think he made a save or two. Even, he got a little bit of action. And he got to finish out the game. So I just thought it was unnecessary from Chris Weidman to say something like that. I don't really think that was a move of the Toronto coach kind of showboating and rubbing it in our faces. I think it was more of just him trying to show some class and just show a really kind gesture to the kid and put him in to let him live his dream, So I don't think that type of jealousy or snarl or, just cockiness of Chris Weidman to say something like that was necessary, especially when the CH has always been we've always been known as a very, very classy organization, of a very mature, responsible off-ice organization, especially with our reputation and our history. And I just think him bringing that type of demeanor in his comments when it goes against that image that we have, goes against that reputation that we have, especially when, Weidman's just a seventh-man defenseman rotating in and out of the lineup, and he, let's just put it nicely, isn't exactly our number one defenseman. He has his own issues, so for him to talk and just make some noise and bring attention to us in a negative way, I didn't really like that. So that's all I have to say about that, guys. Habs wrap up the season this week. Have a game tonight in New York against the Islanders. The Islanders are fighting for their playoff lives. I don't expect too much out of this one because I just have a feeling we're gonna go in there and we're gonna get we're just gonna get attacked right off the bat in this game. I think that there's no way New York's going to lose to us tonight. So I think we'll just go in there, try to survive the game, and get out. And then the Habs wrap up the season at the Bell Center tomorrow night against the Bruins. Big game. I really hope they just show up and play hard in that game. Boston has called up a lot of reinforcement from the AHL. A lot of minor league players are playing in that game. So I hope the Habs just take advantage of that and just go out and have fun and just play a really high, energetic, just good overall team game tomorrow night and just go out with a bang on home ice. That's what I want to see. Even if the number 5, number 6 draft picks are on the line, I want it to beat Boston tomorrow. I don't really care if it means we end up in the 6th spot instead of the 5th. It would just really be good for us as fans and just for the Habs community as a whole to just finish the season on that high note tomorrow night. So I'll be coming out with a game reaction for those 2 games on Friday, guys. And please give us a like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers. Be really appreciated. Go Habs, go.